Well, hi there, everybody. This is Ewok coming to you with the second installment of The Good, the Bad, and the Jank. My friend Manic Dancing Fool, or Michael, or whatever he's calling himself on YouTube, is going to be talking about the great, top tier decks, like the good. And I'm going to be talking about the bad and the jank. And one of them is my favorite deck, my favorite clan, called Tachikaze in Cardfight Vanguard. And as you can see by my slideshow here, it's actually kind of bad. But it looks really cool because it's robot dragon dinosaurs. So you really couldn't want much more from a deck. Now, here's my two grade zeros other than my triggers, which I'll get to later. My starter is Dragon Egg, which is one of those grade 0 starters where when you ride him, or when you ride on something on top of him, he slides to a different rearguard spot. And his main ability, which is like the ability that this deck revolves around, is when this unit is put in the drop zone from rearguard. If you have a Tachikaze Vanguard, you may pay the cost, which is to flip 1 damage, and you get it back in your hand. And Tachikaze is all about shooting your own units so you can make the rest of your units more powerful. And then secondly, I have Ironclad Dragon Shieldon, which comes into play later with one of my grade 2s. So here's my grade 0 base, written out in numbers. I have 1 Dragon Egg, I have 4 heal triggers, 4 crit, 4 stand, 4 draws. Just 4 across the board because I think, other than heals, the other 3 are very useful in their own, likings. So, but you can run whatever you want for triggers, as long as it adds up to the right number. And then I run 2 Ironclad Dragon Shieldons. Now, your grade 1 base is obviously going to contain your Perfect Guard, which is Arcbird on the right. And then you're going to want Winged Dragon Skype Tarot, because it has the exact same ability as Dragon Egg, except it's a grade 1. And then your generic 8k Beater Stick. And then also, it's kind of nice to throw in Savage Warrior, but I've been told that there's a better card that can replace him. Because his ability is when another Tachikaze rearguard is put into the drop zone, he gets plus 1k power. So every time you you ditch out Skype Tarot or Dragon Egg, he's getting bigger and better. So here's it written out. I've 4 Arcbirds, 4 Winged Dragon Skype Taros, 4 Novas, and 1 Savage Warrior. So here's your grade 2 base, pretty much set up by the size of the picture. Your main grade 2, that is the biggest beater pretty much in the deck other than your main grade 3, is Cannon Fire Dragon Cannon Gear. Literally the derpiest name, one of the derpiest names. I have to say the derpiest name is one of the grade 3s of this deck, but one of the derpiest names I've ever heard. But basically when he comes in, you have to retire a rearguard, which isn't that big of a deal with this deck, because if it's a Skype Tarot and a Dragon Egg, which you should have on the board at all times, it doesn't really matter. And then he's got a nice Vanguard ability that gives him plus 2k when he's boosted, plus he's 11k. Now on the sides here, you have starting from the top right, you have Ravenous Dragon Megarex, which is your generic 10k. And then Assault Dragon Blight Tops, which when it hits the drop zone, you can flip 1 damage and search up the Ironclad Dragon Shieldon, which is that other grade 0 that I was talking about. So it's pretty much you get a 9k, you intercept with him, he hits the drop zone, you counterblast, and then you search up a 10k shield. And then you have Savage Destroyer, which is like Savage Warrior, except he's an 8k and a grade 2. He still has that ability where every time a rearguard hits the drop zone, he gets plus 1,000 until the end of the battle. Here's it written out in numbers. I run 4 Cannon Gears, 3 Megarex, 2 Savage Destroyers, and 2 Blight Tops. Now finally, you have your grade 3 base, which is Tyrant Deathrex and Chaos Dragon Dino Chaos. See, I was talking about the derpy names. Chaos Dragon Dino Chaos. It's pretty derpy. Now, Tyrant Deathrex is your beater, because no matter what, whenever he attacks, he's a 15k, because he gets plus 5k every time he attacks. But the thing is, when he hits, you have to retire a rearguard, which, again, isn't that big of a deal with Skype Tarot and Dragon Egg, or even ditching out Assault Dragon Blight Tops for the 10k shield of Shieldon. And then you have your Superior Ride, which is Chaos Dragon Dino Chaos, and it's choose 2 of your rearguards and retire them, and Superior Ride, which actually nets to a gain of 0, but it's basically, you don't really lose anything if you play your cards right. If you know that you have your Superior Ride, you can take early game damage from your opponent, and then just flip damage to get those cards back, so it's not a big deal. And I just run 4 and 4, because no matter what you get, it's going to be helpful. Now, basically, the strategy behind this deck is to kill your own stuff to kill them. What I mean by this is relying heavily on some early to mid-game, like, taking damage, so it's there, but not taking too much. Like, by the time you hit grade 2, it's not bad to have 2 damage on board. Grade 3, you can get up to about 3 damage, because that gives you some leeway with coming in with your grade 3 Deathrex. When it hits, you can just ditch out Dragon Egg and get him back into your hand, or you can ditch out Skype Tarot and get him back in your hand. This also plays off of Savage Warrior and Savage Destroyer, although I wouldn't... If you're hitting grade 3, you should be getting rid of those and trying to pop down Cannon Gears on your rear guards, because best case scenario usually is, for your front 3, you want a Cannon Gear, a Deathrex, and a Cannon Gear. And then your boosters would be a generic 8k, a generic 8k, and a Skype Tarot or a Dragon Egg. So if Deathrex hits, you can just get rid of the Dragon Egg and pop him back into your hand and drop him back in pretty much instantly. So, yeah, this deck, actually, I remember learning about this deck and learning to play it, and I always thought it wouldn't be as bad as people said it was. As you heard earlier on one of Manic Dancing Fool's videos, he plays the End, which is one of the most overpowered decks in the English format, if not the most. I've played him a lot because he's one of the few other people I know and hang out with that plays Vanguard. I have beat him a total of 2 times, and we've probably played at least 50 times. That's this deck just being this deck. I hope you enjoyed this installment of The Good, the Bad, and the Jank. This was the Jank portion of that set. So comment, like, subscribe, make suggestions to my deck build, tell me if I'm doing anything wrong. You know, because I don't want to misinform people. So if you have a better idea, let me know, and I'll probably comment you back. Yeah.